Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. Now, while I remember, we have made an Instagram account for Hammers Chat. It's just Hammers Chat, no spaces. So if you're on there, do follow us. We don't know what we're doing, so do bear with us. And while you're here, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It was a game with 3 penalties. One of them was saved, 4 goals and a red card. But it wasn't that eventful, was it, Tom? It was quite straightforward and slow tempo. And Watford were the perfect opposition for us, weren't they?
Yeah, they were the perfect opposition. It was a really slow and dull game at periods, and the atmosphere was so flat at times. It was very quiet, but it was to be expected, and we all knew it was going to be a comfortable win this evening. We didn't make life hard on ourselves probably towards the end, but no, it was a comfortable win.
Jason, is that what West Ham needed after going 6 games without a win? Is that what we needed? A team that was going to come up Upton Park and pretty much lie down and give us the 3 points?
Yeah, I mean, the FA Cup has been the perfect distraction for Watford, I guess, in that case. It really was a case of men against boys. I felt like we were watching us play Villa moments at time, just toothless up front and just crazy, shocking defending at the back. So it was really much the perfect way for us to, get some match sharpness.
Well, since we beat Watford tonight, no team can do the double on us in the Premier League this season. They were the last team that had beat us with the first set of fixtures, so great stuff there from West Ham. Tom, it didn't take us long, despite, like you said, a dull 10 minutes. Andy Carroll, what a pass from Payet.
Yeah, it was a beautiful little reverse ball. Not really done a lot, I guess, Payet the last couple of weeks, but no, he pulled a beautiful ball out of the locker today. Really pleased with him tonight. He just looks a little bit more sharp than the last couple of weeks. And it was a great little finish from Carroll.
Jason, do you agree with that finish there? I mean, Andy Carroll, that's his 9th in the league, and when you consider he's missed so much of the season, he's not done that bad. He's now scored the same amount as our top goal scorer, Payet, in the league, so they're now joint top goal scorers in the Premier League for us.
Well, I think that'll only help with your future stats now of his minutes to goals ratio now. So, yeah, the man's on form. He's full of confidence, and what more could you ask for him? It's nice to see, Payet be a bit more involved in the game. I think where the defenders were so slapdash, he's not being marked out of games as much, so we got to see more of his influence.
Mike Dean pointed to the spot. We said about it in the preview, said Mike Dean's a decent ref, and he didn't really have much of a choice there, did he, Tom? Right at the end of the first half, Kiai is just standing his ground. The defender's all over him, really. He kind of had to give that pen, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a good game, bar the one decision, which I'll probably talk about at the end, I guess, for the penalty. I thought he had an overall good game this evening. I was in shock at the fact that we've been given 2 penalties in 2 games, let alone 3 in 2 games. But no, it's a clear penalty, and it was a good finish against the keeper that, coming off the back of saying a couple of pens at the weekend, it was a good finish.
Yeah, he went to the right for his first one, Mark Noble. Well, that's overall today now. He scored 17 from 20 in the Premier League and 25 from 28 in his West Ham career. Jason, just was there any doubt in your mind when Mark Noble put that ball on the spot the first time? Were you thinking that's 2-0?
Well, I thought he might have been a little bit rusty. I mean, given the time in between sort of penalties he's taken and the ones that he steps up now. But obviously he's probably practiced a little bit in training. So cool as a cucumber, stuck it in the back of the net. What more could you ask for?
Well, I'll tell you someone who wasn't as cool as a cucumber, Mr. Lanzini. What a mess. Jason, what do you think about that? Sorry?
Oh, was that for me? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think Slaven was all too pleased with him after, he could have really put the game out of sight rather than make us a bit jittery when they pulled one back. It's a bit of a shame, but I'm sure he'll learn from his mistakes. He's still young enough to get it right.
We weren't overly clinical tonight, were we, Tom? I mean, Lanzini missed there. Then at the end, when he had his massive scoop, Moses one-on-one thumped it straight at Gomez pretty much. Do you think a better team could have punished us tonight?
Yeah, I think they could have done. If Watford had that first-string team out, yeah, I think they could have punished us. I mean, you can add in Payet had 2 as well, which he would have probably before bent round the top right-hand post. No, we weren't clinical at all. I think you could see that frustration in Bilic's face towards the end of the game. He really lost it with Lanzini at the end when he had that. It was second to last chance, I think, that he had. And it was disappointing. We were disappointed in front of goal. We should have won that game by at least probably 5 or 6 goals. And that let us down this evening. So, on the one hand, it's a good win, but it would have been nice to see, to better finishing.
To be fair, what I will say is I don't think we're in first gear. I think if it was 0-0, I think Lanzini and Moses were probably more likely to score. I think they were maybe trying the camera finishes type thing because they had that cushion. Jason, the second penalty, Antonio got brought down. Were you surprised that Mike Dean pointed to the spot again?
No, again, not really. It's just, again, Watford's defending they were an absolute shambles, really. You could tell it wasn't their first string side. They clearly didn't have the communication with them, as it's such a raft of players coming in, all from different nationalities. I think there were clear communication problems. So, frustrations, it's just no too surprising, really.
Credit to Mark Noble for taking the second one. It can't be easy, Jason, taking another penalty in the game when you've scored the first one. Do you think there must be a bit of psychology there? I mean, because Gomez went where Noble went the first time.
Yeah, but I mean, if to see someone like Noble step up is a reassuring influence. Obviously, I know, as I said earlier, it's been a long time since we've seen him under the floodlights actually take a penalty for us. But, he may have got the weight off his shoulders, shaken off those cobwebs a little bit, and, another assured clinical penalty.
Tom, back down to the other end of the pitch now for Watford's goal. Let's talk about the right back then. Were you surprised to see Antonio right back again?
Yeah, I was. I think everybody was expecting Byram to come in for this game, or Tompkins, or someone. But Bilic just seemed determined to have it work at right back. He has that system. He could quite easily change it, but he clearly has faith in him, and he does do a job back there at times. It would just be nice, I think, to see him push up to that right wing role, because we all know he can be so influential when he's up there, because he creates a hell of a lot. But no, I was disappointed not to see him start up there tonight.
What about yourself, Jason? Were you surprised? I mean, we did the preview together, us three, and we were all expecting Antonio to be pushed up. But as Tom says, Bilic seems determined to turn Antonio into a right back almost. Do you think it's worthwhile, or do you think it's wasting Antonio's talents going forward?
It's a bit of a double-edged sword, really. I mean, I do trust in Bilic with his judgments, even if he doesn't get them correct 100% of the time. But I feel that, what you and Tom were saying, I think give Antonio that lease of life without as much defensive duties, having someone like a Byram or a Tompkins sort of providing that cover, or if we bring in a new right back over the summer, just so he can not have defensive duties in the back of his mind, and he can just really hit those fullbacks so much harder and, get more goals, which he's more than capable of doing.
Was this his best right back performance, Jason, until perhaps when he conceded the free kick? I've seen a lot of people going, it's because Antonio's right back. I think it's a wee bit harsh to pick that out, because we gave a few free kicks away, and it was just so happened that the one Antonio gave away is the one that they scored for. Do you think he actually played okay right back tonight, Jason?
Yeah, he was a lot more assured and a lot more comfortable, definitely. I mean, it's a far cry from the previous right backs that we've had down our years to actually sort of. It's a bit weird having a makeshift one, but he seems to be growing into the role, and I think, Bilic has a system in place where him and Cresswell are just constantly up and down, but it's working thus far.
Yeah, Tom, Watford's goal, fantastic finish, wasn't it? By whoever scored, I can't read my own writing here. But was that a bit of a wake-up call for West Ham, do you think? A little bit of a reminder that the game is not quite finished even at 3-0?
Yeah, we just sort of almost had gone a bit lax. We fell asleep, really. And it was a fantastic finish by the Austrian Prodel. I thought, just to get it in there. No, it was a great finish. I mean, if your striker scored that, you'd be happy with it. It was a fabulous finish. And yeah, it was a bit of a wake-up call, because we had fallen asleep at 3-0 because we thought the game was done and dusted. And again, this is going back to, you should have taken our chances and should have probably finished it earlier. But they had a little sniff of life, and again, with the penalty later on, they could have brought it back again, but no, top finish.
Well, let's talk about the penalty. Tom, Mike Dean blew for the third time, pointed to the spot for the third time. Pen or not for you? I mean, Ogbonna's clearly going for him, but he kind of backs away a little bit, doesn't it? As the ball's coming in, I think Ogbonna kind of tries to say, "No, I'm not going to touch you."
You see, this is the thing. Or at the same time, he has his hands up on him, and we saw that he got luckier the other weekend when he was with Huth. I still think it's quite soft, and I think, Andy Carroll made a comment afterwards, after the Leicester game, saying, I think that the refs look to even it up. And I don't know if he's felt that this evening, like he's felt like, he's had two penalties, and he's tried to even it up. But it is soft, but it's Ogbonna's fault, almost like Carroll's at the weekend. He shouldn't have been going and making that tackle. Ogbonna shouldn't have his hands on him, and the ref has seen that. he's blown for the penalty. So I can see why he's giving it, but at the same time, it is soft. It is a soft penalty.
What do you think about the penalty, Jason? I mean, moments before that, West Ham had the corner. You could see Mike Dean going up to the Watford defenders and say, well, stop touching, because they were going for Andy Carroll. They were pushing Andy Carroll. You could see Mike Dean saying, do not watch the ball, because they weren't even watching the ball. So you think Mike Dean's well saying, well, I've told them, so I've got to apply the same rule in the West Ham box, and that is that you're not watching the ball, you're watching your man.
Yeah, it was pretty much pound for pound what happened in the Leicester game, really. You know, again, the refs have taken so long to sort of get it to that point where this is something that should be highlighted in games, that, you know, it's a penalty offence. With the power of replays, we can actually see it was quite soft, that Prodal sort of collapsed into a heap quite easily, really, you know, because he's quite a big lad too. Quite soft, but, you know, the ref has to make that judgment call then and there, so you can only really pity him for the time, but it is what it is.
And it was a fantastic save by Adrian as well. He's got an incredible record at saving penalties. He does come pinging off his line, though. I think he was almost on the edge of 6 shoulder where he saved the ball. But very poor penalty for Troy Deeney. And then Arabak got a red card for Watford, which kind of summed up their game, I suppose. We were the first team in the league this season to have 100 goals scored in games involving us. Everton have equalled it after us, but we were the first team in the league this season. Tom, does that sum up West Ham this season for you? Just goals, 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 goals.
Yeah, goals, 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 goals. And I would have liked to have seen, you know, a striker score a chunk of those, but it's been down to the playmakers usually this season. But no, it's testament to the changes that Bilic has made and the players that he's brought in and what they've been able to do. And it's been, even with the club, really, it's been some savvy buys to get those players. And over the last few seasons, we've lacked the goals. And I really hope again that this summer we can get a 20-goal, you know, striker and see that increase next year. But we have the foundations in place now. We're lucky to have, you know, such a wealth of talent at our fingertips to be able to use and step up when they need be. And I'm really pleased that we've been able to see so many goals in our last year at Upton Park as well.
Yeah, I think you've touched on a good point there. I actually see it as a good thing that we don't have a 20-goal striker season in a way, because if we're scoring all these goals without that, just how much further can we go with the man at the top that we need? And we've got goals spread across the team, which is fantastic. I can't remember the last time I had that West Ham. I mean, Stuart Downing was almost like a miracle last season, scoring about 5 for us in midfield. Jason, who was your man of the match?
Go on, I'll answer it. Go on, I'll take it from him. No, for me tonight, easily got to be. I'll give it to Nobes tonight. But it is a team performance. I think I said it in the preview. I think it was going to be a win. I think I said 2-1, but I said it'd be a good team performance. And I think it was overall. It was a good team performance. But you know what? In the words of Gonzo, I'll give the bubbly to Nobes tonight for his cool finishing and a good team win.
Yeah, I think it could go to anyone, really. I don't think anyone was outstanding. For some reason, I just think everybody kind of played above average. I mean, Aaron Cresswell impressed me, but he didn't really have a lot to do. Andy Carroll impressed me, but again, he was up against probably the easiest defenders he's going to come up against this season by the looks of it. But it's a comfortable victory for us anyway. Tom, come on then. While we're finishing in Europa League, put your neck on the line.
I want to say, I mean, Man United have just kept banging form, so I really want to say that we're going to finish 6th, but it also, you know, weighs in on Liverpool winning the Europa League or not, because if Liverpool win the Europa League, don't forget, 6th place then gets taken away. So we need to still be pushing for 5th. I think this is why I'm a little bit disappointed with the fans, because it was so quiet, and I'm thinking the season isn't over yet. We still have to fight. We've got Liverpool snapping at our heels. And it's time to pick up, get a big win under our belt going in for the next few games. Because like we said, they're all winnable games. But this was a massive step towards that in the right direction tonight. And I'm hoping, you know, because Leicester have to go to Man United, don't forget. So hopefully they can pick up a result there and we can then take over. But why not be optimistic? I'm going to say we're going to finish 5th.
There we go. Tom's been optimistic. West Ham are very confident tonight. 3-1 victory over Watford. We've got a wee break until we play West Brom, but we'll be back next week with a preview of that. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel while you're here. For your latest West Ham news, do pop on to clarendonwho.info. And of course, come and chat with us on our forum at hammerschat.boards.com. And remember, if you're on Instagram, it's hammerschat without a space.